So welcome students. So now let us look at the topic of mathematical induction. Mathematical induction. So mathematical induction is a process by which we prove some theorems in mathematics. This is a process in which some statements or some mathematical statements can be proved. So mathematical induction is a process by which some mathematical statements can be proved. So what do we do in mathematics? So when you are doing maths, what do you actually do? So mathematics is nothing but logical reasoning. So mathematics can be thought of as a logical reasoning. So we reason things out. There are two types of reasonings that we use in mathematics. One is inductive reasoning, and the second is deductive reasoning. One is inductive reasoning and the second is deductive reasoning. So inductive reasoning is a type of thinking. Inductive reasoning is a type of thinking where we observe some happenings around us or some patterns in the things that we observe and try to generalize the result. So this is going from observations to generalizations. That is, for example, if you have some triangles with you, assume that you have different type of triangles with you. So in these triangles, you take a protractor and measure the sum of the three angles of a triangle. So assume that you have a protractor and you have the sum of three angles of a triangle, and write all the three angles, angle A, angle B, angle C. So write the three angles of a triangle and you go on doing it for a lot of triangles. So you get numbers here. For the triangle 1, you have different numbers for triangle 2, you have different numbers for triangle 3, you have different numbers for triangle 4, so on. And once you have all these numbers, so try to add A and B and C. So let us try to add A and B and C. Let us find the sum of triangles of a triangle. So you might observe that this is equal to 180. The sum of angles of the first triangle is equal to 180. The sum of angles of the second triangle is also equal to 180. The sum of angles of third triangle is also equal to 180. The sum of angles of the fourth triangle is also equal to 180. So you get excited. You take still more number of triangles. You take 10 more triangles and then add the angles of a triangle. In each case, you find that it is always equal to 180 degrees. So, from these observations, from these particular observations, from particular to generalization. So now, what I say is, the sum of angles of any triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So, I will go to a general statement. I will tell a general statement. So, what is my reasoning here? So, I have observed 10 to 15 triangles. I have observed the sums of angles of 10 to 15 triangles and all of them turned out to be 180 degrees. So I hope that this is not a fluke. So maybe there is a general law that is governing the sum of angles of a triangle. So I say that I'll give a mathematical statement, sum of angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So now if I ask you, is this statement valid for all triangles? Is this statement valid for all triangles? So just by inductive reasoning, you cannot say that the sum of angles of all triangles is equal to 180 degrees. Because you have observed the sums of triangles of only 15 triangles or 20 triangles or 100 triangles or 1000 triangles, whatever the number of triangles that you observe, you cannot confidently say that the sum of angles of all triangles is equal to 180 degrees. But this type of inductive reasoning leads us to intuitive conclusions. So from the patterns that you observe around the world, you guess that something might happen, and this type of reasoning is called inductive reasoning. But the statements that you get by inductive reasoning may be true or may not be true. So to prove that the statements that you derive, that you get from inductive reasoning are true, you have to prove them using deductive reasoning. So deductive reasoning is a reasoning which goes from general to particular. So you take a general result and you try to prove it from basic assumptions. So deductive reasoning is a reasoning which starts from very basic axioms, and step by step we try to prove a general statement. So you have two types of reasonings in mathematics. One is inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. So in this chapter, we'll get a technique which can be used to prove some mathematical statements. And let us see the theorem of mathematical induction.